a vote on a motion regarding the IVT project. Shortly thereafter, a motion for reconsideration was presented to the executive board from one of the members of the prevailing side. Mr. Gamson submitted his motion, which was sent to the city attorney's office with their understanding that they have given approval to your reconsideration motion to be heard. The motion from Mr. Silver was made regarding the IVT project that the ENCINO Neighborhood Council oppose the IVT project as is currently proposed. The motion was 10 in favor, 2 opposed, and 7 abstentions. Mr. Gamson's reconsideration motion is as follows. He wishes to add the following items which was sent to the city attorney on Monday. They approved it. Item number 1, insufficient information on the motion. Item 2, lack of detail of the project. Item 3, no information to the board from the applicant. Item 4, inaccurate information from the maker of the motion. Item 5, a lack of time to discuss pertinent issues. Item 6, a lack of information from the local neighborhood council. And item 7, improper action of the maker of the motion regarding maker's position as parliamentarian. That is the motion that is on this table right now. Any member of this board can second the motion. We have a second from Mr. Kaufman. Now we can address the reconsideration. Mr. Gamson, you have the floor as the maker of the motion for the reconsideration.
Actually, what I'm concerned is that I was run into something that had to be done right now without enough information. I don't recall ever having this board see the applicant at board meeting. I know the PLU meeting. Everybody else does, I guess it's so, because I wasn't there. I didn't have anything, information from the applicant. The motion was made, and it was a long type of motion, and it was narrowed down with a sub-motion by one of the board members. And I voted for that one. I really voted on the bet to myself that I didn't realize how much this council were a bunch of chickens and abstained until I realized why. They also didn't have enough information. Why vote on something you don't know about? So, how many abstentions? 6? 7 abstentions. Wasn't the majority. The majority was in favor, and I was one of those. So therefore, since I was in favor, I'm entitled to my reconsideration request. One of the problems I had is understanding the motion. And I think I can understand the motion. If I don't, I shouldn't be on the board. I've been here for 8 years, 11 years, I'm sorry. But it counts. The fact is that if I knew afterwards, I found out. If I knew what I thought I knew at the time, I was misled, and therefore I voted in favor. Thank goodness I had the option of being in the majority and calling for reconsideration, because I know much more now than I did then, and I'm not in favor of that motion. Thank you.
Thank you. This matter is now open to the entire board for comments and the public. Michael Kaufman. I want to say something about this.
Trust and integrity are precious commodities. They're easy to lose and once gone, hard to regain. In the end, a good reputation is all any of us really has. The ability of this board to influence policy and land use decisions in this city is completely dependent upon our reputation for honesty and integrity. Whether government officials view us and our recommendations as fair and reasonable, or whether they see us as just a bunch of empty crackpots, depends on the positions we take here. Mr. Krukover called me a couple of weeks ago, his way back from City Hall, and said, "Do you know we're the laughing stock of City Hall?" Well, it's not surprising. We voted against the project that we didn't even look at. You can't get more prejudicial than that. Homeowners of ENCINO rushed this neighborhood council to vote against the currently proposed IVT project, sight unseen, in an attempt to influence the July 9th vote on this project at the Sherman Oaks Ultimately, the decision reached by this board had no effect on the vote in Sherman House. The reason we are reconsidering this motion tonight is because one of our own realized he had been swept up in the moment and thought the better of it. This board acted in error because homeowners of ENCINO provided it with false and misleading information, which prevented the board from acting in a thoughtful and judicious manner. While it is reasonable for this board to vote one way or the other, once we have seen all the facts, it is clearly not reasonable to only listen to the anti-IVT information provided by homeowners of ENCINO without any supporting documentation, and then vote as this board did. That violates our own standing rules. In looking over the agenda of our last meeting, you will find that the information provided by Mr. Silver in the whereas portion of the motion provides misleading, exaggerated, and when all else fails, simply fabricated information about the project in an attempt to hoodwink this board into doing his will. To begin with, let's start with some of the facts, which can easily be checked on the Planning Department website. Anyone with an internet connection who knows how planning and land use works in the city can check these numbers. Mr. Silver's motion says 147 mature trees will be destroyed. City documents show the actual number is 4. None of which is native or protected species. Mr. Silver's motion says 494,358 cubic yards of soil will be exported. This again isn't even close to being true. Here Mr. Silver is only off by 300%. City documents show the actual number is 165,000 cubic yards. And that was for the original 500-unit design. The current design may be less, as there are 200 fewer parking spaces. We haven't seen the current design yet. Mr. Silver's motion says there'll be 3 levels of subterranean parking. This was never true. City documents show the project has 2 levels of subterranean parking. Mr. Silver's motion says the project is an 8-story building. That's not entirely correct either. Like the Galleria located next to it, the project is comprised of a group of buildings. Some are 4 stories, some are 6, and some are 8 stories. This photo, distributed by homeowners of ENCINO to the board, shows an 8-story building on SEPULVEDA Boulevard. This isn't the design of the 399-unit building that this board voted to oppose at last month's meeting. This is the old 500-unit design, which is no longer even being proposed. Furthermore, again contrary to what Mr. Silver stated in the whereas portion of his motion, the project is not actively moving forward in the city's entitlement process. There are no new filings on the project. It's been on hold for over a year. No revisions to the EIR have been submitted. No new plans have been submitted to the city. There is absolutely no time urgency whatsoever. Now, it is irresponsible to comment on a project we haven't even seen. Prior to our last meeting, the developer had offered to present the current project at this meeting tonight. We should have waited to see what they were proposing before voting. That's only common sense. Our normal procedure is for the PLU committee to review projects and make recommendations to the full board. Since there was no time urgency, there is no reason we should not follow this long-established procedure. Most important to me is the underlying principle behind Mr. Silver's motion, which we are reconsidering here tonight. What this motion says to the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council is that we know you are struggling with an important choice, but we don't trust you to make the right decision. So we will tell you what to do. Do we really want to establish a precedent whereby other neighborhood councils have free rein ready to tell us what we should or should not be doing here in ENCINO? I, for one, do not think so. I urge you all to support this reconsideration, if for no other reason that it will help us to try to regain our integrity. Thank you.
Mr. Silver?
For once, I'm a lawsuit lawyer. In fact, those allegations are so patently false, I really don't want to waste time going into them. Let me just say this. First of all, the facts that I stated before are precisely accurate. I have in front of me those numbers that I read when the motion passed. Came directly out of the applications the city has, and you can see them right here. So those numbers are accurate. Now, with respect to why we moved this forward to the town, it was simple, and I'll tell you the reason. This group had stalled for months because Diane Rosen was not present to conduct PLU meetings. And the matter was being brought in front of the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council. And they needed our input as well. So that's why I brought it forward. And those facts are absolutely the same. There were 399 units in my motion, and that's what they're asking for now. One thing I find really curious now that this panel needs to think about, we've had a presentation, a complete lengthy presentation with PowerPoint that went to the PLU committee. We were opportunity to ask questions, the spirit of debate. Alderman ENCINO made a presentation opposing the project, and the developer had an opportunity to make their project. So we followed reasonable procedures. We allowed our committee to deal with it. They didn't take a position, but the matter was clearly brought forward. Let me just say, without going into a lot of detail, 5,000 cars per day on that project. 8 stories is still the size of the project. 399 units. We need to go on record on this, so I don't want to waste any more time. I'd like to move forward on the question of the reconsideration, unless you have some other comments.
Michael has a
No, 30 seconds.
I am the president of this board. Jerry asked to speak upon Michael's comments. Michael is to make a comment regarding Jerry's comments. The rest of the board will have their time.
I just want to respond to one thing with regard to the numbers. If anybody would like to see the numbers, I have the information right here, which has been printed from the city's IR documents. All these numbers are here, black and white.
Thank you. John Ornstein. Cohen.
I would like to point out to Mr. Kaufman that David Paul Company is still using this garish colored thing in their latest pitch book, and Mr. Silver had every right to send it out.
Yeah. So, in my opinion,
You have the floor, please.
I felt we were being asked, we were depending on the developer to present to our PLU and our council. And given the fact that, and I don't think, the other thing is that the material was presented to Sherman, it was reported in the press. And I think we were within our rights to move forward on what we know enough about the project. And we don't have all the details, but I don't think we need to be totally dependent on a developer. I think we can be more proactive. The other thing is that this statement that we're the last resort says who? I mean, that's just kind of a general statement. And so, first of all, to me, I
I don't know who that is, and that doesn't mean that much to me. I think what's key is, and nor do I agree with the statement that we're supposedly telling Sherman Oaks what to do. We're Encino, and this impacts our community, and we're stakeholders, and I believe we're just making a statement on behalf of Encino. And then the last thing I want to make, I just want to point out is from the presentation of PLU last week, you know, we're sort of in this, I call it the horse trading or gray area. Well, first, the proposed development was 500 units, and then it was 399. We seem to be in this situation of, well, you know, can we negotiate it down further? But I think what everybody needs to be clear on is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that none of this zoning has been approved. I mean, this is zone R1, single-family houses in a small area is commercial, and a small area is multifamily. And so I think everyone needs to be totally clear that all these plans are very presumptuous. The applicant is assuming that these zone changes have been granted. They haven't. And so I think that's on an objective basis, something we have to be clear about.
One of the reasons I voted yes on the motion last time was that it was stated that it had been to the PLU committee previously. There was some general awareness, and I wouldn't have objected if we've had projects that have gone multiple times. I would have been particularly upset about that. But in general, though, when you have a project that exceeds the plans, the Ventura specific plans, community plans, etc., I think that's one of the roles of that I see as far as the neighborhood council is to let developers know that these plans were developed with significant public input, public process, etc., and to pick them apart piece by piece by piece and wear down the citizenry. I personally do not support that, and I will not support projects unless there's just minor, and we have had some minor couple feet elevation or a couple feet setback, whatever. But major projects that significantly deviate from the plan, you know, I think that those plans are revised periodically, and that's the time to look at the big picture with the thinking part of things. And then lastly, you know, this is on the border of Encino. It certainly has significant impacts to Sherman Oaks, but make no mistake about the impact on the spillover from the 405 to 101's Pullman Boulevard, Ventura Boulevard, and everything that connects to that. All of this development, all of its cumulative impacts significantly affects our ability to access our community. So we have every right, in my opinion, when there's property that is right on our boundary line, to take a position and feel free to do so. I could be arguing if it's not directly on our boundary line, but I do make that argument for this project, and the project to the west, we have one on Lindley that's on our boundary line too.
I'll make my comments brief. In terms of a couple of the questions that are brought up in terms of why this would go to reconsideration, the jurisdiction of the Encino Neighborhood Council is one of the question. During my commissionership in the city of Los Angeles was when the Neighborhood Council was first being formed, and Greg Nelson came to testify in front of us, who was the former GM. And my direct question to him at that time on record was, what would be the jurisdiction of these neighborhood councils? And he told me at City Hall in the tower that a neighborhood council has jurisdiction over everything that directly and indirectly directs The project that was presented was a 399 unit project, I believe, which is 6 stories high, which, I'm sorry? Staggered. 8 stories. And to my knowledge, that does not change. And maybe it will. You know, there was a sense of urgency in terms of, and I agree with John, the community was upset. I don't believe that some of the things coming out of Sherman Oaks reflected the desire of the residents of Sherman Oaks. Certainly some of the businesses, but not the residents. The gridlock at SEPULVEDA and VENTURA is significant enough to call for a situation in which we should consider opposing this project. When they originally came in front of our board, I supported an idea of this project because that lot is empty and it provides for a public safety concern for everyone in the area. However, I still don't know which way I'm going to go right now. I'm waiting to hear some more interesting debate. You know, this was something I don't feel we were necessarily in error in what we did because the public had a request, and I think we're all fairly educated people that have held very different posts in the state and in the city, and I think we acted swiftly and justly in the matter at the time.
Well, we have Ken Silver, and we have speaker cards.
I had one question. I can't recall what this was considered a hearing if we have access to what was in the book now and that is
No.
we didn't.
We didn't.
I think this is important because aside from the merits of it, in fact, these conditions may impact the decision that we should consider whether the problem we think of this project might be alleviated by this condition, whether in fact the conditions may be helpful.
I didn't see the packet which I sent to everybody by email, and an attachment from me that was sent to me from up in my office, which was scanned and sent to the board. The entire board received the attachments, basically which is the packet, but that was after.
So that's right. So it is
After the fact.
new development.
Yes, all, yes. Yeah, public, yes. Yes. Go ahead.
I just wanted to address just a few things. There was a comment earlier by one of our residents about the colors that we have in the photo. This was actually addressed at our VLE meeting. It will not be yellow and red and the bright colors that are being presented just for photo imaging. As far as the presentation, I don't want to anybody have a misconception of the PLE committee or any of the board members here. This project has been brought forward to us almost 2 years ago for the first time ever, and it was a much larger project. It was reviewed by not only the PLE committee, but we've also had the chair of the PLE from Sherman Oaks NC Neighborhood Council visit our PLE meetings, inform us about the project, express to us the concerns that the Sherman Oaks residents have, and as far as having information and discussing, I think we have done our due diligence, and even for our last PLA meeting, I think we had a very extensive explanation of what the project is about and how it can benefit or become a disadvantage to either or both communities. Lastly, not taking any side to the project, I do want to mention what's so special about this project is basically the location. And that's like the primary concern. The location is the primary concern, the traffic is the primary concern. But what's also, aside from the fact that it's in a high congested area, it's also an area where there's a lot going on. There's a bank across the street. There's, there's the gallery. There's all sorts of businesses around. And I believe, from my understanding, is that the whole idea of their project is to keep everybody in that community and to have people walking around. So I for instance, a resident living in that facility, as opposed to driving down to Havenhurst to visit Ralph's or Gelson's, they're going to be using the supermarket that's within the building. Because on the bottom floor, it's going to be retail. There's going to be a pharmacy, there's going to be a supermarket, and then there's the banks across the street, etc. So they're trying to make it a walking, more eco-friendly environment.
Consideration. There are 9 speaker cards with regards to this matter.
Just to close things off, I urge the committee to reconsider taking all these things into consideration, and also think back over what we discussed last week from both sides, and I hope we come to a positive conclusion.
Right. We have 9 speaker cards here for people. I'll call on your names if you want to speak with regard to the reconsideration. And only the reconsideration. Ron Zid, do you want to speak on the reconsideration? Yeah, Ron Zid. Barbara, here. Okay. Eric. Marshall Wong. He wants to reconsideration or if it gets that long.
Well, both, but on the line of
Yeah, in line with there. Bruce. David Goldberg. Eric. We have 2 Erics. And Patricia Belvers. And David. Okay. So basically, we'll have 1 minute to hopefully get through this in 1 minute and then speak. We'll be okay. Go ahead.
my comments on the reconsideration have to do with the 18 months spent by the Land Use Committee in Sherman Oaks. I'm the chair of that committee, and the 3 months we spent on it as a board. We spent a lot of time, a lot of work on this. Now, the question is that work enough to justify the project or to justify your vote? And the answer to that is no. But what is important is the quality of the work we did. And the fact is that we made major changes in the design, in the size of the project, and we imposed 24 conditions that we negotiated with the developer. All of these things were big changes, made a big difference. Such a big difference that even the opponents of the project wrote a letter to Councilman Labange and asked him to take the 24 conditions we put on the project and make them few conditions. They thought it was that good. And they had absolutely no criticism of the design changes we made. My feeling is that you should vote for this, and I don't care whether you vote for it or against it, but vote. 7 abstentions, I feel, is disrespect for the work they put in.
I came thinking that I could speak in favor of the project, but now I'm only speak that the resolution be reconsidered.
really been in the public view for a long, long time. Obviously, the site is allowed, is a trash site. The developer has owned it for 35 years. So, thank you.
I would like to see a reconsideration of the project, because I think that the entire board should take it up once again. There are a lot of very valuable reasons why this project should be done, and then be carried forward by the board, and the audience, complete open discussion. Thank you.
I'm in favor of reconsideration as well. I've sat through many of these short notice meetings and know the intensity with which they look at the project. I think I've had a sense of the intensity with which this organization looked at the project. I think I can say it has been less intensely. I do wish I could comment of one of the individuals who said the neighboring council should be speaking about those things were deeply affected. I think I believe that. But I think if each council is to be given serious weight, then the level of investigation should be the same, or at least serious. And I urge this group to give serious consideration to this project rather than simply respond to what obviously are kind of good things.
Good evening. My name is David Goldberg. I'm with the law firm of Rooster Goldsmith in Delaware. We're outside the co-counsel to beg call the applicant, and we would respectfully request that the council adopt the motion to reconsider so that we have an opportunity to present the project, and that you could base your determination on all of the information. The project has evolved substantially over the last couple of years. I understand it's been precedent to consider about Sherman Oaks, but there's a lot of information that we think would be beneficial to hear about the project, and certainly as a part of our outreach, we would appreciate that opportunity to present this.
I'm Tricia Gilmers, and I've been involved in environmental issues in this lovely city for over 25 years. The most perfect part of any project would be to turn it into Central Park. It isn't going to happen. I'm asking you to consider reconsideration. Thank you.
It's been a long night, and I just want to try to say this as quickly as I can. Number one, having sat with you for many years, I was really shocked and surprised that this project was brought up to this council sooner. I mean, there's no way that you would be living in this city, in this part of ENCINO, without knowing what was going on. This project, forget what they say or what Jerry said or what everybody, it's very simple. There are certain zoning conditions in that area. And what's been going on in the city all around is that the builders community buy the product, the developers, and they ignore what was there. They just go about trying to get it changed. Those things, the strategic plan, zones are there to protect the community. And it's very simple. It's just too big and too destructive. Thank you.
You guys really need to uphold the first action you took. I think that you really need to understand this project and its size and scope hasn't changed. It's what they're proposing. There's no discrepancy. It's whatever, 399 units, X number of parking spaces, etc. The concept is you're going to be putting in a transit-oriented hub, and this project is going to be a great thing. It's not exactly going to work that way. People aren't going to move out of their homes in the Encino Hills and Flats of Encino and go move into an apartment building right on Sepulveda Boulevard to ride on jam-packed buses and sit at Sepulveda and Camarillo and try to get across Ventura Boulevard. It's not going to happen. Also, Mr. Chair, you need to show a little more restraint when you're dealing with the general public and your board. Pass the microphone around equally and hold time to time. Thank you.
Call for the question. Any objection to call for the question? Roll call vote is acceptable. If the motion passes for reconsideration, the original motion is off the table. That way we can have a unbiased, direct, and open discussion and presentation by both the applicant and any opposing sides to that action. At which point, new motions will be brought to the table and voted on after discussion. Since we're running out of time basically now, understand this. If the motion for reconsideration passes, we can then call by the board's discretion, call for a special meeting at the first available date for this room, or move it to the August, which would be most likely the case, whichever happens, to be heard. If the motion for reconsideration fails, the original motion that was presented stands as is. There will be no presentation and no further action on this matter. Therefore, Ms. Riddler, the roll call.
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Kaufman? Ms. Brysagan? Ms. Brewer? Ms. Markarian? Yes?
Yes.
Mr. Cohen?
No.
Ms. Henderson? Mr. Varian? Mr. Silver?
No.
Mr. Bailey?
No.
Mr. Krokover? Mr. Sill?
Yes.
Mr. Moses?
Yes.
I vote in favor of reconsideration. Ms. Kelson? Yes. Ms. Watson? No. Mr. Ornstein? Ms. Monique Patterson? No. Ms. Levin? No. Ms. Lovell? Mr. Krokover?
Yes, for reconsideration.
Is there anybody I missed? Because I know you have the computers on the paper. Okay, let me count what I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, reconsideration, 1 abstention. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 noes.
7 noes, 1 abstention, and 12 in favor of reconsideration. Motion for reconsideration passes. At the discretion of the board, for question taking, when we have the discretion of the board, we want to call for a special meeting between now and the August meeting, or put this on the meeting of August. It's an open comment from the board, not for discussion, just open comment.
I would say August, but I would also say with
So noted. So moving on to August 22nd. Thank you. That is our next general meeting, August 22nd. I apologize to everyone who was here. To the applicant, Madam David Paul, is August 22nd acceptable for you for a presentation? Thank you. And opposing side, I have a comment. Mr. Bailey? Yeah. Okay, that item is taken care of.
The independent election administrator for Region 3, which ENCINO is part of here, which I think we should all allow her to come. But before we do that, the ad hoc committee has a consent item that's very important. If it hasn't been pulled, if it turns out we have even more money, we were being very conservative because we were told we might have less than 5,000. Now we find out we have 9,800. So this was very conservative. I wish we had done more, but it was discovered after we took the action. So I would ask that we vote on the consent item now before we do the election presentation. And that would be my motion that we approve but actually it's already motion before the recommendation of the committee.
Correct. It's that by the committee, we have on committee. Therefore, there's no objections to that item. That, yes. If we have any applicants on the candidate forum. here and to see what's available prior to the next meeting. Just this, the IPT project, nothing else. Yes, okay. Please, people, we got to get out of here.
So if you look at the minutes from the last meeting, we approved the committee recommendation that there'll be